recording.
John Faymore.
This is the last thing I got from Doug.
Does Darla just want a seat at the big table?
We've tried, but Shake's working the shadows. Glad we were able to do that recognition for him last term.
You may have.
This one? Yeah.
This is
She didn't bring any friends. Remember, I told her she had 30 friends. 30 friends, Darla. Where are your 30 friends? You have one friend. Two. Sorry. Sorry, Bob.
Amazing. This is
Okay, everybody, settle down. It's April the 13th, Town Council Regular Budget Workshop, and we're in session, so please come to order.
Mayor, before you get started, can I present the town with a gift from AB Emblem?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So if you don't know it, our patches that are made here in Weaverville just went around the moon.
Yep.
We're very proud of that and proud of being in Weaverville since 1963. So we wanted to give this framed piece to the town. It can hang it wherever you want to put it, Scotty, but you can't take it with you when you leave.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for that very pleasant introduction. So, everything being said, Mr. Town Manager, it's like it's on you.
All right, Mayor, Council.
Before we get started, I know that we don't have anything on our agenda to call things to the agenda, but we do need to, I do need to make the council aware of something. We have General Statute number 143-318.10 and General Statute 160A-72 that we are out of compliance with. Those statutes say that we must have meetings, minutes at every meeting, and we have gone 4 meetings and not had any minutes taken for us to review and approve. And so I need to make sure that our meetings are documented appropriately and that we have minutes that we can approve at each meeting, and we are 4 behind.
Thank you for that information.
Have we talked, you had an idea about AI, right, for minutes?
We're already using AI to capture minutes for the Weaverville Foundation, which is, the AI just listens to the discussion basically and produces a document. So it's pretty low barrier to use. I think we could implement that pretty easily.
I think with our videos going on YouTube, the YouTubes provide summaries or
They
those
do, but
compilations as
we're
well.
not approving the minutes.
Right, we're not approving them, yeah.
And so that gets us out of compliance with general statute. And I just need to make sure that the public has access to the minutes as appropriate and
Agreed.
that we are in compliance. And if we need to find another way to get the minutes taken timely and appropriately, then we need to make some other arrangements.
And published.
Yes.
They need to be on the website where all of us have access.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Thank you.
So we'll take steps to get that done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. All right, Mayor, Council, for the budget workshop tonight. First slide is on revenue neutral, as we presented to you last month. Revenue neutral rate from what we've received from the county is 27 cents. As you're aware, our current tax rate is 38 cents as we're operating today. So we'll go through the budget tonight. You'll see some areas where we are recommending tax increase in that. We'll show you where that's going to be applied and personnel and staff. And one of the things that we have heard from council is taking care of our people and that our people are our biggest asset. So we'll show you tonight on some of the challenges that we had with balancing the budget, looking forward and funding growth and development as we move forward. So, some of the strategies to balance the fiscal year 27 budget, justifiable expenses exceeded the projected revenues for fiscal year 27 budget. The following strategies are recommended and have been used to balance the budget. Issues of debt services for vehicles, fire apparatus, and capital equipment. Delayed budgeting for land purchases of fire, actively searching for property. Delayed police department relocation, but actively searching for property. This budget includes a 3% cost of living adjustment, but pauses the merit increase. Fund most critical new positions with focus on service delivery. Better allocate administrative services between funds. Develop street rating systems, plan in fiscal year 27. Fund street paving in fiscal year 28. Develop a sidewalk improvement plan in fiscal year 27. Fund in fiscal year 28. Increase use of in-house resources for facilities and grounds maintenance. Use advancing technologies where appropriate. Contract out some services where appropriate, and continue to pursue grant funding. Our next slide just gives a little bit of the unknown estimates for fiscal year 27 budget. County tax reappraisal for fiscal year 27. Property taxes values appeals are pending. Some reductions for successful appeals is included, but a total impact is unknown at this point in time. On our insurance rates are pending for our property and liability insurance. Vehicle and equipment have been added. On the county public safety fees, as you heard from your presentation last month from the county on PSIP, the Public Safety Interoperability Partnership, fire and police and centralized data entry, our CDE, for police and municipalities with the cost share of the county imposed fees. Those are not known yet. And on the fire budget, the countywide fire tax implementation for fiscal year 27, the tax rate has yet to be set by the county. County funding on departmental budgets is not yet known. An agreement with Renfrew Creek Fire Department is still being negotiated.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
When the surveyors came to look at the fire department and determine the insurance rating for the fire department with ISO, did we get that back yet?
No, ma'am, it hasn't been released yet. So.
Okay. All right, thank you.
On our service delivery, that's the one, yeah, service delivery and expectations, we talked about the 3% COLA is recommended, in line with area jurisdictions around us, reached out to other managers to see what they were implementing or looking at, or for their recommendation, and that is in line with what their recommendation is. Instead of implementing the merit increases, we're recommending market adjustments are planned for a more individualized approach that considers both competitive salaries for each position and employee performance. The incentive pay plan, which continues to be funding, which you funded previously, healthcare insurance and other standard benefits, employee assistance network and respondent support services, paid maternity and paternity leave, recommended increase from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. There was some discussion in last year's budget, and we landed at 2 weeks on that. So again, as you see us go through here for some of the benefits and recruitment and retention aspects. Automatic contribution of 2% in the 401k for all employees with a matching up to 6%. Currently, we match up to 6% of what the employees contribute. Some of our employees aren't able to contribute because it takes away from their take-home salaries. So with that, with us already planning that matching contribution, one of the ways to increase some recruitment, retention, and benefits to our employees would do an automatic contribution of 2% in that. Recruitment and retention is not just a budgetary item. It focuses on workplace culture, professional development, and coaching, providing the tools and resources for success and supporting a healthy workplace and environmental. Recognition that our employees are striving for and entitled to a work-life balance, and that we can no longer do more with less. So as we go through this budget, you'll see items focusing on that. As we mentioned, that the fiscal year or revenue neutral was 27 cents. We're proposing a tax increase of 31 cents. And before you get too much of a stick shocker, our next slide will show you what some of those adjustments look like. But using general fund balance, plus or minus right around 1.25 million. Water rates increase is 5%. Our use of the water fund balance is 560,000. full-time positions added are 1 HR position, 1 part-time finance front office staff, 2 police officers, 1 maintenance tech funded at a half year, and 1 water treatment plant operator. Again, our proposed COLA is 3%. Health insurance increases 8%. Vehicle equipment's added, with police department 4 patrol vehicles. That would be 2 for the new officers and 2 as replacement vehicles to continue with that schedule. Public Works would be 2 Ford F-150s and 1 swap loader. Public Works message board and arrow board, a light tower replacement, security cameras, police department drone and safety equipment, fire department rescue equipment, and water meter replacement. Capital project funding, the water line replacement, water treatment plant, the chlorocone pipe insulation, backup generator at a High Bluff tank, stormwater improvements, and playground resurfacing area. As you see there on our fiscal year budget in brief, the general fund was a 9.3% increase, fire fund 11.9%, our water fund is 19.2%, for a total of 12% increase, or it's actually 11.9 on that. For our tax aid and fund balance information, as you can see on the chart there, tax revenue neutral, increase above revenue neutral, we're projecting it at 4 cents, which is $747,500. So 1 cent equates to $186,875 going above revenue neutral. So as you can see what the 2 cent, $373,750, 3 cent, $560, $625, and we landed at the 4 cent of $747,500. 5 cent would be $934,375. When you look at that, again, with our current rate of 38 cent, revenue neutral being 27 cent, and our proposed rate of 31 cent. What that equates to, taking into account a $400,000 home, you're looking at a $160 difference using the 4 cent rate. A $500,000 home, you're looking at an increase of $200 for the year. Someone with $1 million property, you're looking at an increase of $400 for the year with our tax rate being, if we landed at a 4 cent increase, being 31 cent. To give you some little historical on our past and proposed property tax increase, tax base fiscal year 25 is 1.23 billion, fiscal year 26 1.28 billion, estimates in fiscal year 27 is 1.87 billion, and for our tax rate, fiscal year 26 was 38 cent, revenue neutral for fiscal year 27 is 27 cent, and we're proposing in fiscal year 27 31 cent. For our property tax revenue, 4.5 million in fiscal year 25, 4.7 million in fiscal year 26, and 5.8 budgeted in fiscal year 27. Our current and proposed levels of staffing and personnel growth by each department, admin and finance. Again, that's where we asked for 1 HR position and 1 part-time finance, so that you'll see going from 8 current staffing to 9.5 in that. Our Public Works Department, asking for 1 maintenance technician. In our water production, asking for 1 water treatment plant operator. And in our police department, asking for 2 new FTE police officers. For our total staffing, if all approved, would be go from 91 in our current staffing to 96.5, and the 0.5 being our part-time position in finance and upfront window. To give you a breakdown on each department, our governing body administration, planning, community center overview. Again, 1 full-time HR position recommended, 1 part-time finance front office position, events and celebrations, community programming, our outside agency funding, the WBA $6,000, the Weaverville Business Association, our senior meals program $6,000, and our WEDAC committee, the Weaverville Economic Development Committee $2,000. Some of the requested not funding was the community engagement PIO position, emergency generator, backup generator at the community center, capital improvements at town hall for window replacement and electric door openers. Moving to our police department, on the budget overview, 2 police officers recommended, 2 replacement vehicles with 2 new vehicles added for the new officers and the new FTEs, security camera systems, drone, a speed alert trailer, and additional street barriers that would cover one lane, safety equipment and other essential law enforcement equipment, responder support services. Requests not funded was the 2 overhire positions. We felt that that could be managed with hiring of the new positions, public safety facility funding, and restroom trailer at the range. Moving to our Public Works Department, which consists of sanitation, stormwater, grounds maintenance, and streets. 1 maintenance technician funded at a half-year budget. Engineering services are budgeted. 2 replacement vehicles and 1 swap loader are recommended. Playground area resurfacing recommended. 1 light tower replacement with LED, 1 message board, and 1 error board. Stormwater improvements, 1 mower is funded in this budget. Our requests not funded were streets and sidewalk improvement programs, swing set area resurfacing and exercise equipment area, a 2nd mower that was requested, and the 2nd maintenance technician. On our fire department budget, implementation of the countywide fire tax in fiscal year 27, county funding is unknown at this point in time. Approved apparatus to be included in equipment and vehicle loan, a new engine for fiscal year that was ordered in fiscal year 24, scheduled for delivery in November of 26 at $1,092,804. New engine ordered for fiscal year 26 will be delivered in May of 26. That was your replacement from the one that caught on fire. $1,052,034. Rescue truck that was ordered in fiscal year 26 with delivery expected in 28. $1,367,741. Rescue equipment is included. No positions requested. Responder support services recommended. Requested but not funded is new apparatus bay, long-term planning for substations locations. For our public works and our water budget overview for water production, 1 water treatment plant operator position is recommended. Installation of the pipes to the chlorocone recommended. For water distribution, no personnel added. 1 maintenance tech position was requested but not funded. Replacement water meters are recommended. Water line replacements through the USACE grant is recommended. Backup generator pump at the Hillcrest High Bluff tank recommended. And the replacement of light tower with LED lights recommended. For water administration, 1 position was requested but not funded. Engineering services have been budgeted.
Excuse me just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Back to the water department.
Okay.
So does that mean that we are not adding personnel, or we are adding?
Correct. There was 1 position that I am recommending funding out there.
And what is that position for? Is that to help Randall?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, because I was concerned before, then Phil and I had gone out, and Mark had gone out to the water treatment plant, and Randall was the only person that was trained on a lot of the operations of that water plant out there. So is that position to back him up? Is that
Correct. Yes. The position that was currently funded, they had asked for 2, and then the one that is currently in there, and then granted, you have the opportunity as we go through this to give us some direction on if you feel that more positions are needed or where to cut at. But that 1 position for succession planning, I felt comfortable funding that 1 position at this point in time based off our budget. So, yes, ma'am. Moving forward, we got for some discussion, initial direction, possible adoption of a resolution opposing the state-imposed limitations on our local property tax authority. Action to set a public hearing for May 11th at 6 p.m. and authority to post police officers and a water treatment plant operator position prior to our July 1, so that versus delaying it to July 1 if those positions are approved, going ahead and posting those so that they can hopefully be filled shortly thereafter after July 1. And we were able to have some success with that last year on positions that we knew you were going to approve with the funding in the budget. So again, looking at some general discussion and directions on the tax rate, our use of fund balance, recruitment and retention, and focus areas for next month. So if you want to pause there and give us any feedback, and then once we have some feedback on that, I'll talk a little about the next steps of where we are on community conversations and our budget workshops moving forward. But again, we'll be glad to take any any questions, comments, concerns, or direction that you had as you saw us go through that of where we landed on that and how we landed at a 31-cent tax rate versus our revenue neutral tax rate of 27 cents. So,
I have some questions.
yes, ma'am.
So, the HR position, it's my understanding that we farm out most of our HR services. What will that position be doing?
Correct. Right now, we're outsourcing HR, and we are running into daily HR struggles and challenges. For one, it's costing us more time, effort, and energy contracting that HR service out versus bringing it in-house and it being here daily, but also trying to reduce some of those costs. It is occupying myself, Tanya, and Jennifer's time on being able to try to mitigate some of that so that we're not giving them everything, but there's been several challenges this year that HR has had to be involved in and looking at that position to bringing it totally in-house and being a full-time position instead of outsourcing it. Also, it gives our employees more access to the HR person being in-house and operating out of here versus, and we have set up an HR email to where they can email HR directly and it goes directly to that consultant. But bringing that position in-house, it would give our employees greater access to that individual.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Scotty, would that role also include recruiting for our open positions?
Correct, yeah, I mean, it's, right now, benefits package and things is handled by people in finance, so there's a lot that could be done in that role. And we know that it will eventually grow to take some of the workload off of others as well, but looking at streamlining some processes, looking at everything from recruitment, policies, different things in there, so there would be a lot in that, and granted, I do see that position growing eventually, but granted, looking at everything from benefits. Right now, that position already does our orientation, which was a workload taken off of us. So, I mean, there is some opportunity for growth and advancement in there, but then relieving some of the workload off of other employees as well.
No, that's good. Also, can you clarify the math for us? So the current rate is 38 cents,
Correct.
and revenue neutral is 27.
Yes, sir.
We're basically proposing a 31.
Yes, sir.
So what's the difference, or where does the difference between 38 and 31 go?
$747,000
You-
to help pay for all of this. There was a slide.
Are you asking about what that cost is, or what? So like,
The revenue generating is $747,000.
right, so I'll back up and try to answer it two ways. I mean, because yes, it's technically, and what you may be viewing it as, and that we're currently at 38 cents, so I'm talking about a tax increase. Well, what I'm required to present you is revenue neutral, and what that budget would look like, or what that funding is at revenue neutral being 27-cent revenue neutral.
Can you pull up the other slide?
I'm sorry.
Can I borrow these? Sorry.
I've got extra paper right here.
Yep.
This
no,
one, right
No,
here?
no, go back one more, or forward one more, right there.
Right there, okay.
All right, so we get there. So it's, sorry, John.
I'm sorry.
All right, so you're at 1.2 billion, right?
Yes.
And we divide that by 100, right? That's taxable ad valorem, so that's, and my calculator never gets right. What is that, 12,800,000? So we take 1.2 billion divided by 100 is what? $12,800,000 times 38 cents, right? Our current tax rate is
Current tax
38
rate,
cents.
38 cents, yes.
Tell me if I'm doing my math wrong, right? Times 38. So it's 4,864,000, right? 400? Does that sound right to you?
Which year?
Last year.
1.7.
Or, you know, I was using FY '26, 1.2 billion times 38 cents. You know, divided by 100,
4.2.
The bottom line has the
right?
Right.
revenue.
So, close, so I got 4.8, but you got 4.7. Okay. So, you now got 50% more taxable property in town. And to your point, if you left it at, so we do 1.8, right? 1.87, which is really 18,700,000, I think, 18,700,000 times 38 cents. That'd be 7,106,000 if you left it alone, right? Am I close? So 2.3 million? More?
And you're saying if we did not decrease?
No, if you just left the tax rate at 38 cents.
Correct.
We now, as a town, have 50% more taxable property in town, and if we don't touch it, and everybody pays the same tax rate,
Right.
there's $2.3 million.
Right.
To your point, the state says you have to offer, where my check, in theory, isn't gonna go up that much, then I write to the town via Buncombe County, right? So, you had a budget using ad valorem, 4 point whatever it was, 4.7, right?
Right.
And now you'd like some more.
Yes.
To spend on stuff, right? And this is the one thing we can control. So what I was gonna ask you, which I think ties into kind of that question is, I don't wanna jump ahead, but what are you using the general fund balance for? Is that for purchasing equipment or operations?
That's been the challenge, especially when they went 9 years without a tax increases, they were using the fund balance for operations.
Right.
And we're trying to get away from doing that, but we are using 1.25 of that right now to help offset some of those costs.
But in operations?
Correct.
Okay, so I
Because,
personally think it's.
because basically you don't have enough funding to offset it, basically. Your tax revenue doesn't match it, as we talked before about the growth is coming,
Yep.
but we're not receiving the revenue from it yet. So that's kind of that, where I talked about early on as far as balance in the budget. We weren't out of balance, but that's what we're referring to as balance in the budget, is using that piece of the fund balance to help cover those operational expenses, but we can't continue to do that.
So you got 4.864 last year in that, you know, if we don't touch it. So what I'm trying to get to is how much, without touching the general fund balance, how much money do you need to balance your budget for operations? And then what number does that put us at? So we go, 27 is revenue neutral. We know we can't do that with the growth.
Versus 31.
Versus 31, I think it's gonna be higher than 31, but
Right.
you know, I'm gonna get shot when I get home, so,
And 1 cent of that, so, we're at 31 now, so 1 cent going up is
Right, if you go back to
186,875.
the other slide,
So-
what was your general fund balance in your budget? I didn't write it down, because that was stupid.
1.2.
1.2, you were gonna pull 1.1 or 1.2 out of general fund balance?
Right.
Right, so now let's go, instead of 5 cents, what is it? Is it 6 cents?
Keep in mind too, that we always have money go back into fund balance
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
if you don't spend it,
Yeah.
but how you balance it and go, okay, so that's your budget at 31. Well, at 36, at 38, you wouldn't have to take anything out of the fund balance.
To do that, it would be, so 1.25 plus or minus, you'd have to 6 or 7 cents more than 31.
To get another million, he needs another $1 million.
Yes.
Yes.
In his operational, you want
You
another
need
million?
6 cents more. It'd be 37
Yeah,
to not do the fund balance.
Another million and you'd have fund balance increasing.
okay,
We
so
were
what,
at 60%, with your target is 40, we were just barely below 60% after this last year's audit. So do you wanna try to maintain 60%, or are you okay going closer to your target of 40?
I personally am not in favor of using fund balance. I don't care if it was at 3,000%. I don't like running your operations with savings accounts.
I agree.
It's how we built the community center, with cash, I think.
Could you pull out the interest that you're earning every year to potentially reduce that 6 cents down a little bit to maybe give a little bit more flexibility?
Pull out the interest on.
Well, whatever
Aren't you
you're
making
earning,
like 300,000 a year and,
the good job you've been doing earning interest.
yes.
Right, so that becomes the question, is if, you know, There's two ways, you know, I run it the same way I run like our company, and my house. I save my savings account for an emergency or something special. And if I have to use my savings account to pay my gas bill, my rent bill, my food bill, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's not
Because my
sustainable.
savings account eventually is gonna go away. So if we're all in that agreement, if I get struck by lightning, please let me die. You can't run a town that way, or you're gonna run out of money. So what do we have in our fund balance? Forget the 60/40, what's the number in the fund balance?
6
Yeah, right, that's
7.
close to 7.
All right, so there's 7 million theoretically in cash. Now, the state law is 10%. So if Scotty wants to buy Thermo Fisher so he can grow and not worry about office space, then he can write him, you know, a check for $3 million.
Total fund balance was 6.7, available was 5.6,
And is that available by us or by the state?
available for us,
Five
available.
point
Legally by the state rule, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because they say you gotta keep
They-
10%.
yes.
So 6.7 million, so we have $6.7 million in our savings
Total.
account. He needs more office space, and you go, that's how you use your savings account to buy your new house, not to pay your pizza bill and your Starbucks bill. And that's how people can't buy a new house in this town, because they don't ever get any money saved. They can make the mortgage payment out of their salary, but they can't get the 20% down. So, you know, what I'd like to see is, because you know the numbers better, you know, that you're like, we're going, Peter and I are trying to do it in our head, going 1 million. You go, well, it can be less than that, right? Because you always put back and go, what would that magic number be? Lower than 38, hopefully, that allows you to run the town,
Plus plan for growth.
well, and plan for growth, agreed, but don't touch the fund balance unless you told me you were gonna be buying a fire truck, right, with that, or another police car, you know, capital investments
Right.
that you don't have,
Right.
but to
That's what
pay,
it should be for.
I agree. So that would be a number I would be in.
Like for patrol vehicles, we're on a system of replacing 2 every year.
Yep,
So they're capital purchases, but they're yearly, they're annual.
And your budget.
And that's okay.
Already. for
yeah,
turnover.
and I'm, like I said, so I don't wanna, you know, I don't know that we would get there tonight, but go, what is in your operational budget? And yeah, buying 2 police cars every year, may be operational, but it's a capital purchase. So what do you need minus capital purchases? And I think it's have to be higher than 31 cents if we don't wanna dip in for operations. So buying 2 cop cars, to me, it can come out, in my brain, I'm okay with it coming out of the savings account. I'm not okay with your daily running of the show.
Salaries.
Yeah.
You got it.
I
Well,
agree.
I do like the fact that we are planning every year to replace police cars. And that's in the budget, and that's not coming out of our fund balance, which I think is very smart. But I do think that there has to be a plan for growth for the substation for the fire department and another, police station, so that maybe y'all can move downstairs for your administrative staff, but give the police department more room, because they're out of room. The fire department's having to go all the way through town to get on the southeast side, and we've got to fix that, so.
And- I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I don't know, what I don't understand yet, and maybe you can help me understand, is if we do purchase some property to build a new substation for the fire department, does the county help pay for any of that?
That is something that we have talked with the county about, for a call, once the county comes up with a cost share funding model, because the next 2 stations will more than likely be built in our North Buncombe district. So our first approach with them was that, where are you looking at adding another EMS station, and is that something that we can do jointly at? So we have had some of those discussions with County Emergency Services to look at that aspect. Just for a point of clarification, where we talked about, we removed out the purchase of land for the fire station. What we were looking at doing that as debt services, so you don't see that salary in here, because then that would be offset and financed in there, so you don't have that $1 million 3-acre property purchased or anything like that.
Right.
So, yeah, so we do know we still got a plan for that, and once that purchase was, executed, if land was found to be available, then you would see that as debt services versus funding it
Right.
out there.
But I guess my question is, I understand that we had to supply the county with a capital improvement plan. And was a new substation included on that plan that was submitted to the county? Because I mean, they're wanting to level the county fire tax rate on us, but I just wanna know, does that fire tax from the county, is that operation money, or is that helping with the capital improvements?
We submitted to county a 10-year capital improvement plan, and it's phased in there, purchasing of land 1 year, with construction of the station the following year. So it was part of that 10-year capital improvement plan in there for multiple stations, as well as apparatus replacement. With the countywide tax, they haven't determined what that tax rate's gonna be yet. So with the way it was set up in the old system, with 12.27 being our North Buncombe rate, we could easily determine what we want to get from the county, and then you back into what we needed or ask for a tax increase. Right now, we don't know what that rate's going to be, but any department that is requesting salary increases, personnel, capital improvement processes, then they will submit the budget to the county, and the county will determine those requests and needs, just like we do in this form. Is it met in there, and then where did that money come from, and with setting that rate, because they've got one pot of money to distribute across the county.
So basically, the county will decide which capital improvement projects they want to approve, correct?
Correct.
Out of
Looking
that
at it,
budget.
yes.
It might be for Weaverville, and it may be for who knows where. So we won't know that until when? When are those decisions supposed to be made about the fire tax money? And
They haven't even, the county commissioners haven't even adopted a single-wide tax district yet. So I believe that goes before them, a public hearing, and then adoption on the 21st, I believe, of April. So that hasn't even been adopted yet. So, and that's why I say when we talk about some of the unknowns that we were presenting tonight, we still got a lot of unknowns to include, people appealing the rates and things like that. So we know there's going to be some fluctuation in there, and not knowing what the county's doing on the fire tax rate itself, so.
But either way, we've got to plan for growth.
Correct.
We've got to plan for purchasing of land somewhere, or some type of property that can allow us to expand the fire department on this side of town. And the police department said they also have room to grow. I mean, we're adding 2 more officers. I don't know whose lap they're gonna sit in, but there's no more room down there for anybody. And, you know, your administrative staff, I don't know if you're gonna put anybody there either. So we can't keep doing the same thing without chomping at the bit and going ahead and planning in our budget to buy some property somewhere, because we just can't keep this status quo that we've done for the past 20 years. We've got to do something different.
I've got a question. So there were several things that were recommended but not funded. Is there an estimate on what, if you had everything on that list, what would that do to the tax rate?
We don't have that number tonight, but we can get that number back to you
Sure.
at your council
Just be
meeting. So.
curious.
I'd like
Just
to
that
see
as a
the
big
wish
question,
list.
sorry.
Amount.
Also, Scotty, you know, we've got 9 approved, you know, real estate developments in the town of Weaverville. Does the draft budget account for onboarding of those developments in the calendar, or are they so far?
Not till they come in, and like I say, we won't get revenue for that until they come in.
Okay,
And we still don't have a good timeline as to when those will be completed.
yeah, I saw your note, okay.
For example, Northridge Farms, I mean, you know, that's been proved they're clearing land,
Yeah.
but there's nothing there yet, other than a piece of property
Yeah.
and land.
20 years.
Yeah.
Dee, when was your place started? 25 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Right, and they're not done, right?
Right.
Almost,
But not.
but not.
There's still empty lots in Creekside Village.
Two or three.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the problem. It's taken that 25 years to build that project out.
So those projects are essentially not forecastable.
I don't think they are. I mean, we can't forecast them. So you can ask the developer at Northridge Farms when you're gonna get built out. I mean, he wants to build them as quick as he can, but it depends on people buying and all that. I think they're hard to forecast. You showed us with one number.
We have a forecast based on what the developers were telling us. You never know.
And I wasn't picking on Dee's place, but
Everybody
As
else
an
has to go
example.
in.
So is there a way to request an update from the developers every 6 months or every year or something. Where are we standing on this so we can project where we're gonna be?
No,
In the case of Creekside, there have been 4 or 5 different developers over time.
I'm not trying to be a smartass. but
No,
your
I
point is-
don't disagree with you.
You can ask whoever the current developer is, and he'll tell you something to maybe just get you to leave him alone.
On this kind of thing?
And it depends on the market, interest rates, the price of oil, and you name it, right? The price of wood, COVID went through the roof,
Remember also,
yeah,
as those come online too, our cost of operations go up commensurate.
yes.
I mean, our public works is going to be taking over those roads and therefore spending money and fixing potholes.
Well,
So
that's
it's,
the point.
I mean, so the more we come, I mean, yeah, we might be able to bring in more revenue, but our expenses are gonna go up, maybe not equally, but a lot.
Y'all
So-
remember, this is from the last budget workshop, we presented, and it was our best guess at increases in tax revenue. And by the end of between 28, 29, 30, and 31, it was an additional 1.3 million in tax revenue. We're
Over the next
anticipating.
4 years.
Yes. Well, 5, if you count the FY
Okay.
Not that
27,
much.
28,
Not much.
29, 30.
Divide that, 1.3, divided by 5.
Yeah.
So have we ever done the number, and I guess we should have done it 12 years ago. So what does it cost the town, on average, for every dollar we get in from a resident property in ad valorem, and what do we spend? Like, we collect, we collect X, and what do we spend on that?
Next.
So,
We always talk about growth and how, I don't know if anybody's ever done the math to say, oh, we wanna, we're gonna annex Maple Trace. I won't pick on Creekside. We'll
So-
pick on Maple Trace.
so Andrew, the good news is we have won an Urban 3 grant for 45,000 that will actually calculate that number. And council will get the report in September, but they're essentially analyzing, value for cost.
Right, what does it cost?
Yeah,
And so what did we, I can tell you what we lost at Thermo Fisher. Very little as far as cost to the town. I brought that up before. And Maple Trace, and you brought it up, let's pretend it's the same revenue. But the cost of goods sold is dramatically different, right? So we annex Maple Trace, we get 150, but it costs us 151 to service them. Well, then we're losing money by annexing them. And, we annex, Thermo Fisher, we get 175 and they cost us 10 to service. That's, those things, yeah, they're, if we're just a town of residents and no commercial property tax. And remember how we collect, right? We talked about that. We're gonna still collect Thermo's property.
For this year.
But the minute they get all their equipment out of there and have empty building in there, we're gonna lose that difference, right? The 125 or whatever, or 150, whatever it is. So, we could chase our tail on that, but
Well, and that's part of the reason why we chose not to annex that property out at Flat Creek that was not contiguous with the town, is because the cost that, Chief Overland and, I can't remember which one from the fire department presented, it was gonna cost so much money to annex that, and we wouldn't be getting the revenue back for the cost it would be for us to provide those services. So-
agreed.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we got some urban sprawl going on when you look at our zoning map, right? We just have. And so that didn't even bring up, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, we have our USDA loan. We're gonna just leave it alone and go, we're gonna just have to sell water to
And we're still waiting
everyone.
on the permits from the state for, since 24?
So that's an interesting question. When you get your quotes for what it's gonna be to, build this now 12, 15-year-old desire to double the water treatment facility, you gotta come back to us, right? Like, you don't have a red, you got a green flag 8 years ago, 5 years ago, yay us, we wanna do it, but we didn't know, we thought it was gonna be $8 million, now it's gonna be 80 million.
Right, same with change orders that we've been
Yep.
bringing back, so.
Right, so, maybe we don't double the water treatment facility, maybe we can't afford it. You know, we have to have, there has to be something to stop it. If they come back with $30 million to double that water treatment facility, are we gonna do it? Are we gonna borrow $30 million and go in debt
We've got the grant, big chunk
Yeah.
of that.
for 100 million? What was it? 15 million?
15.
Right,
Plus another mill or
15
so.
million. But you're
But the
thinking it's gonna
cost
come,
goes up every day, and that's
Right.
the issue, you know, every day that they delay getting the permits to us is another day we can't get bids and solidify this is how much it's gonna cost to do it. And so it's just a hole that we keep digging deeper because we can't get the state to give us the permit. So
Well-
how can we encourage the state to approve us, whatever it is we've submitted to them, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
I think we approved the water treatment before we got the grant, so in some ways,
Mhm.
we saved ourselves $15 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we spend a little bit over, then we're still
Yeah.
net gain.
Mhm.
And to your question, Andrew, is, you know, are we gonna borrow that much money? First off, I don't think it's gonna be that much money, but, at the risk of sounding totally unpopular, don't be too afraid of using other people's money. We do it all the time. What was our interest rate, our return, on the general fund last year? Was it over 6%? No? What was it, you know?
It was below 5.
Below 5? Right now, to borrow would be about 6?
We're getting quotes for 4.
4?
On the equipment
Sure,
Okay,
And
so-
vehicle loans. Mhm.
And the
I mean,
US
that's the math you need to calculate.
Absolutely.
Is if we use other people's money, we can kind of come out of even. But I know that is, okay, now you're budgeting into the future, things can change, problems can arise, they have in the past. But at the same time, don't always be so automatically against debt service. Debt service can be okay,
it can be okay.
you know?
And that USDA loan's like 2% or something, right?
2%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just depends on the caveats attached to that debt
Yeah.
service.
Well, that's a different conversation, yeah.
Totally agreed. I mean, if you have, first of all, we have a constant guaranteed stream of revenue unless everybody just shuts down and moves. But I don't think that's happening to Weaverville. This isn't Rutherfordton, right? So the chances, and realist, to your point, trying to be realistic, I don't think, and we have a very aged population already. It's, you know, probably half the town's retired, you know.
Look at what the houses in their development are being sold for now.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to what they were sold
Triple.
for when I bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
And then,
Crazy.
with the hospital coming, I anticipate younger families moving in.
Mhm.
And with that being said, we need to think as a town, what offerings are we gonna offer the youth that are moving into this town? Because right now, it's very, very slim.
Agreed, but.
It's getting
but-
better.
Yeah, and I think to Peter's point, you know, if you have a revenue stream that's probably not going away, and your debt service, if you're earning 4, and I totally agree with you, and you borrow at 6, you're really paying 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I don't disagree with that at all. You know, I'm still, you know, it's what it is, you know, we have to sell water to anybody who asks for it. I didn't pay attention to the last meeting, I think we're still below, and Catherine Cordell, I'm sorry, but I still disagree with you. We're below 50% use of our water, I believe. And we're gonna double it. So we'll see. We'll see if we ever get to 100% of the current water. So what's that worth? Now you're talking about 50 years from now, right? You need to build it now because of 10 years. And when that, I agree, you take the 15 million that the state's gonna give us, and what's the difference? And you got, what do you got in the general fund balance on the water treatment? 6 million?
A little over 6.
Okay, so you got 21 million to build it without going into debt service. But if you have 6 million earner interest and you need 6 more million, nothing wrong with that. Now you're gonna go sell it. So I mean, I'm in agreement that we need to, Jennifer's kept saying it, we need to be doing things for the future, which means then we can't lower the taxes to revenue neutral, or and they're not suggesting that, but if you do that, there's no growth there, right?
That's right.
And you know, you can borrow from your general fund balance, no different, that's your own debt services, you're borrowing from yourself, but if you never put it back, you know, I don't know, it's just my own thought process. process.
I got a question. So last year, what was the tax rate increased? Just the
3 cents.
3 cents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Went from 35 to 38.
And then, so, again, I'm first time going through this budget process, so everything's a little new to me, but, so, you know, the proposal here is increasing it quite a substantial amount. Like, what's driving, is there certain ticket items that are driving that need, or is it just, like, collectively, the town, it's getting more expensive to operate?
Well, at risk of answering for Scotty and Tanya, part of it is deferred maintenance,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, I heard you say that the tax rate hadn't gone up for many, many years. So are we still trying to crawl out of that a little bit?
Correct, and I mean, I think they went, this was on for my time, but I think they went 9 years without a tax increase till last year. And then they were, what it appears to me, looking at it, and Tanya can do math in public and I can't, but we were, as Andrew was talking about, we were operating out of our fund balance for operations versus capital. And so that growth has started costing us on the fund balance side, and then looking at it moving forward. So we finally got the tax rate, but our growth isn't catching up with that revenue stream yet. So trying to look out and project that out and increasing our revenue with the tax rate in itself versus constantly using the fund balance year after year.
So, but your 10%, so if it went up 3 cents last year, so was that 35? It went to 38? So that's less than, that's probably 8%. But there was no revaluation.
Right.
So every resident
Yeah,
paid 8% more in taxes.
right.
So Phil and I are gonna get the short end of the stick here, and you won't, because mine went up 83%. So my revenue neutral is 19 cents. So if Andrew Nagel isn't gonna write a check, and I don't want it to be bigger than last year, I need the rate to be at 19 cents.
Yeah.
Now, you may win. You know, not everybody's property went up, right? There's gonna be people who pay less, but our town went up 46%. And I think I used 50. We got 50% more, and not all that was new growth. That was just saying Phil's property's now worth double than it was. And to Scotty's point, it's smoke and mirrors. You know, if we didn't want to raise taxes, well then Selena's dipping into your savings account. We should have just been honest and go, look, we're good with that or not. And to some extent, you know, you're better off raising it a little bit every year.
Frankly, that's one reason why we went with 3 and not 4 or more, was that we knew the reval was around the corner.
Yep, smart move.
We knew that, and that's what we did. And you know, when you hear what people are saying about the revaluation right now, I don't think really anybody I've talked to is even aware of the possibility that it could be revenue neutral. They assume that it's going to stay the same tax rate and that the county has screwed them
Yeah.
by increasing their property values by 50%, and they're gonna pay a tax bill of more than 50%. That's actually not true.
Correct.
So I've been correcting a lot of people.
Well, you shouldn't have, because
But maybe
Yeah.
we should.
maybe he's gonna
It's
come in at
gonna turn
39 cents. He goes, we're gonna go to, how would you like 39 cents per 100?
Yeah. But I think, to my point is that having this discussion and landing where I seem to think the tenor of this conversation is going, I don't think it's gonna surprise a lot of people.
No.
They know where their taxes are gonna land.
Yeah.
It's gonna be way more than palatable, but it's gonna be that way.
But
And real quick, before you start, Mr. Field, but as we talked about, I mean, just to kind of put it into perspective, right now, at that 4 cent for $1 million property, you're looking at $400 a year increase. For 500,000, you're looking at a $200 a year increase, so that kind of gives you some perspective. in
And I
there.
appreciate that, but that's not actually reality. My property went up 83%. Okay, so did yours double?
Mine double.
Yours double?
mine is 91%.
Okay,
since-
so double.
Since purchase.
Right.
Since purchase?
Purchase.
So I
Mine
get
is
what
about
you're
double.
saying, and that 4 cents is if my value was still my value. And so we have a broken system, but that's a whole nother conversation, so you're correct. I'll do the math for you real quick. I mean, it's all public record, I looked everybody up, I can see what Darla pays. Darla can see what I pay, it's all public record, okay? So you go, gonna pay a lot in taxes, you know? My point is, you can't come down far enough
Correct.
for Jennifer, Phil, and I, but to not have an increase. And there's other people in town,
I don't think anybody's not gonna have an increase.
well, there are people whose property didn't go up.
I found that
Yeah,
hard to
not
believe.
every piece of property went up, I'll guarantee you that.
I think the county said the average was like 25, the minimum was like 25%. That's what.
Minimum.
Minimum.
I'd like to see the data, but that's fine, minimum 25%.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do the math real quick, right? So you go $500,000 house goes to 600, right? Is that 25%? Am I doing it right?
125 would be 3%.
I don't know, what is it, 625?
20%.
But Scotty's point is true though, like, whatever and whatever your dollar amount is, he has what your additional rate's gonna be.
This is just a difference between revenue neutral and the 30.
Right, yeah, yeah, there's just a difference.
All right, so here we go. Thank you, Jennifer. So 500,000 divided by 100 times 38, right? 500,000 divided by 100, is that, tell me if I'm doing something wrong here. I don't mind, divided by, so $1,900 in taxes to the town. Right?
While Andrew's working, so far, I've not heard any resistance to not providing what the town needs to fund the government. And and I think that even includes a rather large increase in what people's property taxes are. I've not seen anybody really griping about wanting to lower taxes. What I've heard is that we need to ensure that we maintain the level of services that this town provides. And so therefore, I think we should, at this opportunity, go big because we're in a recalculation, so everything's a little bit up in the air, and so we can land kind of wherever we want almost. And that's not exactly true, but I think we have an opportunity where we can increase our tax rate and not get the pushback without this recalibration of our people's property taxes.
Well, I believe what Scotty has presented us tonight is for us just to maintain the level of services that we have been
Right.
offering, with just a couple of additional positions.
But we're still, like Andrew pointed out, still using some of the fund balance to fund that a little bit.
We're still
So-
using fund balance and we're taking on debt. We haven't, this will be the first new debt issuance in the general fund since I've been here.
Mhm.
So let's wipe that
For the
out,
past
like, let's,
Yeah, so there is whatever term you want to use, there's this cascade of messaging hitting voters right now, about inflation, everything's going up. So, to Mark's point, we're all getting beat up with all of this messaging already. So, the question becomes, does that create a window, where the town basically steps in and says, we're experiencing that too as a town. Inflation, cost increases.
Health insurance, 8%.
8%, yeah.
8%.
Yeah, health insurance, 8%.
Everything just keeps going up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, we can still say we lowered the rate. I mean, to 37, to 36, 35, I mean.
What does 36 get you? How much do you think if you went up from 31 to 36, how much does that reduce your,
186.
taken out of your general fund balance?
About 900,000.
I don't think we would need any from fund balance if we went up to 30.
6?
36 would get you about 900 more, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least we could float it to the public comment, and if we get a bunch of blowback in the public
A
comment.
bunch of blowback, we got 3 people in here.
For the next one. People are listening to what we're saying right now.
I can tell you what happened last year when we did go from 35 to 38. And John and Dee, you correct me if I'm wrong, but if memory serves, I don't think we had a single person speak against it. Not a single person. Everybody actually took the podium and said, I like living here, I like what the town provides, what is it gonna cost us?
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
because
happy
I
to chip
skipped
in.
the meetings.
And that kind of seems like a missed opportunity. You think
We
you should
wouldn't
get to a
listen
place
anyway.
where everybody's like, there's a little give and take.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I'm not saying that to say, well, let's see where the squeal point is.
Right.
But,
That's what I'm saying, kind of.
no, let's not do that.
Look, and I agree with you, but understand, and it's who the town is. There ain't no kids moving here, okay? You know what I tell my workers? Move to Irwin, Tennessee,
No income.
and drive to work. Forget the income tax. You can rent a place, you can buy a place. I got workers. Pratt and Whitney's starting people out at $25 an hour. That's that's their minimum. But to sit here and go into Weaverville and pay $2,400 for an apartment, right? That's what an average apartment's renting for, and you can get the same thing in Irwin for $1,400. So we're just going to be an expensive town.
Interesting, just to speak, Phil and I live in the same neighborhood. We have, what, 4 new families? 4 new families have moved in. With babies have moved in the last year and a half. I think it's wonderful.
Great.
There are some young people, but yes, they have begged, borrowed, and stolen every dollar to get here.
They're in your camp on debt services.
We learned a lot about that. I guess. Yeah.
Are there any more comments on this section?
How, I mean, they can present all they want. You go, what do you want to raise, what do you want the taxes to be? You can say, you can listen to the public comment, go, what'd you say, 39, Mark?
No.
37.
35, 36?
It's gonna be hanging here.
Yeah. 42.
As Phil said, Phil's not running for reelection. I'm not running for reelection.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't know what Dee's plans are. Is 35 a better number? Can you put together, I know you're showing us there, but to go, is 35 a better number, or do you want to?
Well, I think it would be interesting to see the wish list number. So
That's
put the wish
42.
list together and then see
We
what
could do
that.
something similar that we did last year, was that if we went to this rate, this is what you could add. If we went to this rate, this is what we could add.
It was a menu, yeah.
That was really
can buy
helpful
this,
to
you
see
can buy
the
that.
tiered.
Or at least what it would, that we're not using the fund balance, if we're not.
But is your focus, you don't want to go any further into fund balance, or you want to use less of fund
I
balance?
don't want to
Less.
use fund balance for operations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
Yep.
Jennifer and Andrew.
I'm fine with cars and
You know,
Right.
capital.
trucks.
Yes.
Capital improvement, absolutely, but not for.
Right, I mean, Peter said it, not for salaries and.
Exactly.
Paving, and, yeah.
So is that pretty clear? Is that something that we can get a chance to look at? Okay. Anything else? All right, let's move on and talk about the resolution.
Well, I had one more slide, Mr. Mayor, if I could.
I'm sorry.
Just kind of give you an update real quick
Okay,
of our next steps in this process.
good. I like next steps.
Scotty, can you send us copies?
Yes, sir, and you'll get a copy tonight as well after this, but I didn't want you flipping through it while I was trying to go.
Oh, you know I would have done that, I would have gotten.
For our next steps, our community conversations with the managers on April 22nd. We'll be having some budget talks then, talking to our community members about that. Our town council regular meeting is April 27th at 6 p.m. Budget workshop number 3 and a public hearing on the budget for May the 11th at 6 p.m. Town council regular meeting May the 18th at 6 p.m. and budget workshop number 4 on June the 8th at 6 p.m. Possible adoption that night. Then town council regular meeting on June the 28th at 6 p.m. and adoption that night if needed and not adopted on the June 8th meeting.
Which one?
All
All of them. Oh, okay.
Super. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
So the next item on the agenda is the presentation of a resolution opposing the state-imposed limits on local property tax authority.
Basically what that is we're asking for a resolution and we can bring that to you and, but as you've been following or we've been making you aware that there's legislation trying to go through House now on what you can increase property taxes to. So we're asking for a resolution to show that the town is against that, and Jennifer can provide some more guidance on that, but that's what we were asking for on that aspect.
Has everybody had a chance to look at that?
Yep.
Look at the resolution? Any comments, any conversation about that?
So
Yeah,
is
so-
it gonna be up on a ballot? Is that what the resolution is it's gonna go on a ballot? Because I'm kind of confused about the verbiage of what the bill says versus what the resolution says.
I'll tell you, we are too, it's too early. It's too early right now. One of this is just coming out. What's in your packet is just a report out of a House committee where they're saying they're gonna propose some bills to add a constitutional amendment on to require, as a referendum, to institute some pretty significant limitations, for local property taxing authorities. It makes us nervous because we've got, 56% of the budget is based on property tax revenues. And so any infringement on that authority really affects you and your ability to provide governmental services within Weaverville. And so there is we don't know until the bills drop, but the North Carolina League of Municipalities, the North Carolina County Commissioners Association, all the local governments, which is county and municipalities, those all fall under these restrictions. And so what they would like, I personally would urge you to consider opposing those limitations. Your property tax funds, police, fire, streets, administration, all of those really important functions. It does not fund your water because that's a public enterprise fund, but really critical emergency services and infrastructure is funded with property tax dollars. And there are just no other, there are no other significant funding sources out there for you. And I'll remind the group, or maybe this is news to everybody, we are a state that a municipality only has the authority that the legislature gives you. We're a Dillon's Rule state, which means if they tell you you can only tax what they tell you can tax. And so if they've stripped away or appreciably limited the main source of your revenue, it's really damaging. So we don't know yet what that bill is gonna look like. That's why it's just a weird report coming out of that committee.
Yes, and I had a couple of points of clarification. So it's my understanding it's already in the authority of the legislature to set levy tax rates. And they've also set a cap. The real key difference here is that they want to put it into the Constitution, state Constitution. And my understanding is that would make challenging putting a very specific economic policy in the Constitution. If there's an economic crisis, it's going to be much harder to navigate that.
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. And think about it. If there's a referendum on the ballot, unless you're in government and know how important that is, limits on my taxes or limits on your ability to tax me sounds pretty good. And so the fear is that if this does get legs and get onto a ballot, a referendum ballot, that it's going to be really hard for that not to pass.
That's right.
So I think everybody, all the local government jurisdictions are asked to really think about this and whether this is something that you wouldn't mind sending up a resolution.
It would devastate this town and all towns
Yeah.
if we could not use our ad valorem taxes for operations. I mean, how do you fund the police department and the fire department and public works? I mean, there's no other way to pay for that.
You would have to go to some type of salary. Some other towns do it, where they use your salary tax base as a tax base. But that could be very unpopular.
Yeah. So I'd encourage everybody to remember the word rescission. In the United States right now, there are 40 states that where legislatures have actively rescinded local option rights on a variety of fronts. And growing up in Texas, where local option, all the way down to a beer can, was the council's right, I'm very opposed to this, to Jennifer's point. The idea that Raleigh basically takes away, these sort of basic rights at municipal and county level, I think is offensive. And as voters, I think all of us need to say no, because it becomes a slippery slope where everything goes away and we live in a mother may I state, which is not a great place to be.
Well said.
They're also really good about sending down unfunded mandates,
Like stormwater.
like stormwater, exactly. We have to eat that, and we're not gonna have any funds to do what they've asked us to do
So,
if they strip this.
Right, and I don't disagree with any of that, but they're not talking about, so we don't know what they're talking about, right? They're not saying we're doing away with property taxes. It's not what I'm reading, or is that what you're
Well,
reading?
the bill hasn't really come.
We don't
So
know.
why are we writing a resolution on something we know nothing about?
The resolution purely says it is anticipatory, and it does say you're taking a position that you don't want any local authority, state-imposed limitations on your local.
But we already have it. What you're saying is you don't want them to lower it. So to John's point, they already have it, correct? $1.50 per
Yep.
hundred. They have it. We cannot raise, we could do it tomorrow, and your 38 cents ain't even, let's go to $1.51 per hundred. We are, I totally agree, we are in a mother may I state though. We cannot raise the tax rate to $1.51. Pretend, it says maximum generally, but pretend that's the number. We cannot do that, correct?
But this smells like another ETJ ripple.
Oh, I don't disagree, but we still serve at the pleasure of the state, correct?
Yes.
And,
So why does this need to be in the Constitution now?
well, I'm not saying I'm in favor of, what I don't, there's two things that bother me. A, why are we doing it now? Because the League of Municipalities asked us to, okay. That's fine. And when I read it, and maybe I'm misunderstanding it, so, and what I would like is and I'm gonna vote no either way, so it doesn't matter. I'm in favor of no property taxes at all, and I'm in favor of user taxes, so that's not for here to discuss, right? So that's the state I live in, it's how North Carolina generates 50% of the revenue for the town. So in my mind, the resolution should at least be closer to what I'm reading out of the committee to go, yeah, we don't want it to go in front of the voters because you guys are stupid. And that's what we just said. I mean, we just said that, right? We did. We don't trust you to make a good decision. That's what we said. But you guys just said we're gonna raise taxes and nobody's gonna sneeze. We said, we can let's push it to 36, 38, but we don't wanna let the voters decide. And I don't wanna be California, because in California, they vote on everything, right? Everything's a ballot referendum. You gotta vote on everything in the state of California. And the legislature has their hands tied, and that's why I don't live in California. So, yeah, A, why do we need it now if they don't even know what they're talking about? And B, at least I would rather, because they're not writing, they wanna, if the majority of the voters of the Senate approve the amendment, right, so I'd have to quote it, requires 3/5 of each house, and submit it to the voters. So you're saying, our resolution is, we don't even want it to get to the voters because we don't trust the voters. Or 3/5 of the house. So 3/5 of the house. So the resolution should maybe be worded in such that just tweak, and you don't have to, because tweak it so it's, I think, a little more in line, saying they can't pass this, right? They can't do this. They cannot, it has to be the state voters that are gonna do it, unless I misread it.
If it's a constitutional amendment, that's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do what you want, but that's what I would ask you to put in the resolution, to say something that, you know, and how to word it without saying what I just said is, you know, I'm not that good, right? How do I word it? I'm a math guy, I'm not an English guy. How do you word it to go, we don't want to let it get in front of you as a vote because we don't want to be California?
So did this resolution come from League of Municipalities? No.
So what the resolution does is it expresses strong opposition to any state legislation or constitutional amendment that limits the authority of local governments to determine their own property taxes and levies. That's what it's doing, and then urging the General Assembly to respect you as a local government, and that you are making the best decisions for your jurisdiction. Those are the two things, and then asking that it's.
And they're gonna take your resolution, because you're 9 miles from Asheville, and you're gonna put it in the shredder. It is worthless.
And you're right, but it's still a principle of the matter. I would ask this, though, so this has been promulgated by the League of Municipalities.
And the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners.
Okay.
Both municipal and county.
I'm all for a resolution stating what this is trying to state. I would say this, though, that the verbiage is terrible.
It is terrible.
And there's one particular paragraph that just jumps off the page as some way of making sure it ends up in the shredder. And that is, you know, for those of us who have argued to a judge before, when you hit your third adverb, the judge stops listening. Right? And this whole, it'll likely force, we don't know that. I would take that out, and I would take out strong opposition. Just say you're opposed and be done with it and register your vote. You know, that's really it, so.
So Mayor, do we need a motion to
Well, there-
restate?
Yeah, we need a motion. Do you want to adopt it or not?
Well, the question.
With amendments.
The question is, could we enter a motion to restate the language to Peter's point?
Yeah, do you have edits right there?
I do.
Do you want me to?
Take that paragraph out and take that adjective out.
It's pretty simple.
All right, I can tell you that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whereas clause, just delete that. And then the, now therefore be it resolved that the Weaverville Town Council hereby opposes any state legislation or constitutional amendment that limits the authority of local governments to determine their own property tax rates and levies.
Why not just change it to constitutional amendment, and then nobody knows what it's talking about? Because it's not gonna be state legislation. Am I correct, or am I wrong?
It could be.
You can express this is going to the General Assembly, and so if you do not want any state, General Assembly imposed laws, changes in the laws,
Right.
this is a
Trying to-
place to do that too.
Doesn't matter. I'm voting no, you guys make yourself happy, it doesn't matter, I'll be quiet.
We don't even have a motion yet. Does anybody care to make a motion?
I'll do it. Move to adopt this resolution as amended with the edits that I presented to Ms. Jackson.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Andrew Nagel, opposed, always.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okey-doke. So let's see, the next thing is to set a public hearing for the proposed budget. I have a suggested date here, May the 11th.
So, hold on just a second. If it makes no difference, I really want to be here, and I'm trying to get my calendar straight. And on that date, I may be delayed. Can we do it on the May 18th? Is that something we can do on our regular meeting?
A regular meeting and,
The public, we're just talking about the
Yeah, I
public,
mean, you have it.
the public hearing.
It can be, but what does it do to your timetable?
I'm just, I know
I'm
this
just
might
worried,
make.
like,
for-
our last meeting went to like
10:30.
11 o'clock at night, you
Let's
know?
not do
It's
that.
10:30.
So doubling up, like, it seems like we've got a lot coming on to
Okay.
the agendas in the next couple months.
And
Well,
I-
okay, here's the thing, that we've got a workshop on the 11th, and our regular meeting is moved up a week because of Memorial Day.
Right,
So I don't have a problem, it's just a week.
it's just a week.
It's just a week. I don't have a problem with that.
I was just saying, make the public workshop on Memorial Day, really good crowd.
And I'm not trying to overload the regular
Sure.
meeting. I just really think that that would be important, and I have some family commitments, and I'm just letting everybody know that I've got some family commitments coming up, and I'm not going to skip those.
Well, you need to buy us pizza from Blue
I
Mountain.
will do that.
And we're gonna be here till 11 o'clock per Mark's suggestion.
Just for my clarity, are you talking about the public hearing only or the whole workshop?
The public hearing.
Just a public hearing.
He wants to hear what the public has to say.
I do.
I think that's awesome.
Is that something we can
And Mark wants to
can
go.
accommodate?
Yeah.
Jennifer? Can we get a motion to that?
I'll make a motion that we have it on the 18th, a public hearing on the 18th for our budget.
Thank you, Jeff.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have town council questions, discussion, and input. So we've had lots of discussion. I've heard a few questions and some interesting input. So is there anything else we want to talk about?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, and it's time for public input. And we have one person who signed up to speak. Darla?
sign up, but could I speak after?
Don't time them for 3 minutes either. Let them- They sat through all of our BS, let them talk.
Jeff, I think it's okay for you to.
Darla Letourneau, resident, 16 Lakeshore Drive. What I really want to just remind everybody, because you're putting a lot of pressure on me in the community conversation, I really need the staff, okay? You put it, a nice little flyer that was in the 15-page newsletter that went out at the end of the month. But to really get people's attention in real time, what I ask that you do is use your email list, like you do sometimes, to just put that one flyer in, send it out, you know, a week in advance to say, you know, we really would like you to attend, you know, just, it's, you can just use the flyer, but you really need to focus people's attention on that request. And then at the same time, to put it on your Facebook or whatever social media, because if you don't put it on the town's Facebook page, or until you do, it's not shareable, okay? And so that's created problems for lots of town events. So it's really important that you do that Facebook trigger like the week before, and then the week of, another Facebook post, so that those of us who are trying to help get the word out can post it on our social media. So I think these are, in terms of staff resources, very easy, but I really think that it merits, if you really want people to show up, there's a lot going on, even on the town's calendar. So we'll see how that works, but I would really appreciate that. because I do think this presentation and the discussion is really important. It's hard for people to focus on the budget, I know that, but, and maybe the tax issue will get everybody interested. I heard there was an overwhelming attendance at the meeting. People were parking at my house and walking here. So, if they think there might be some clarity on kind of the whole tax issue, this would be a good time to try to understand how you build the budget and how it relates to the tax that they are going to pay. So it's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, and just two things. Number one, I really appreciate the conversation you guys had earlier. I think I can speak for a couple of you guys that you all went into more depth in all the consequences and pros and cons and leverage you're pulling in the budget than I can remember council ever having gone into. And it's all, you can tell it's very sincere and trying to do the right thing, and it's a tough process. So thank you for that, and I'm pretty confident you guys are going to land on a pragmatic approach. As far as input from people about what they can justify, and I agree with Mark, you don't hear that very often, but what I have heard in the past is people kind of frustrated that, yeah, I should be more involved in town council and what they're spending and why there's increases, but why am I paying this county tax too? So everybody pays county too, and I'm pretty sure they're not taking the time, I'm not, to go to the county meetings and find out how they're rationalizing their increases that I'm paying into. And it's all, we're all effectively paying two places. And I know a lot of friends where that was their original reason for not living in Weaverville, because they just didn't want to deal with that, and they couldn't handle that. So, that there's nothing you guys can do about it. It's just something to keep in mind, that the average resident that's not coming here, they're going, oh crap, this went up and that went up, and I can kind of understand what I'm getting from my Weaverville town staff because I see them, but what am I getting over here from this county thing? And it all adds up to a big chunk it's going to be going up. So I just urge you to keep that in the back of your minds or the front. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to take a personal moment here and just ask everybody to revisit the resolution that was mentioned 2 meetings ago, maybe, about the, of course it's not here. What happened to it? We'll just wait and do that the next time. Just put it off.
Yeah, well, we have,
There's strong governance.
yeah, well, let's do it now.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Can we find that from the last meeting? Is strong governance resolution? Jennifer? Yeah, if you can find it. Because he took one for the team because it ran until 11 o'clock
Oh, right.
and said, I'll push it. And it's important to him, I think.
And I was having a kidney stone attack at the same time. Yes, I was.
I made that meeting
I was in the
way
hospital
longer
for
than,
a few days.
It would have, we stopped.
yeah.
That'd be fine.
Took all the information out, except for the.
While she's looking for that, to a little bit, and it's kind of interesting if you think about it. Maybe why there's no pushback, and maybe,
Thank you.
Tanya's smarter than I am. By combining who's collecting our taxes, the county collects our taxes, right? Was that your secret plan all along? Yeah, but, they're collecting it, and no, you're not right. I always say, what am I writing a check to the town of Weaverville for? I'm not writing a check to the town.
Right.
Right? I wonder, to Jeff's point, if everybody just goes, it's lumped in, where it was fundamentally separate. I don't know if there's psyche there.
It's like deductions on your paycheck,
Right.
People look at the bottom line and they don't often look at the deductions, so.
That could be why.
Well, it's no secret, Andrew, that you're subscribed to the Forbesian taxation school.
Yeah?
Remember Steve Forbes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I believe in a federal sales tax and no
I know you
income
do.
tax. Because we don't tax gamblers, we don't tax drug
They
dealers.
try.
Yeah. And I believe in user taxes.
There's a question on your 1040 that says, how much did you win again?
Yeah, they're not filling out 1040s.
Mayor, council, real quick while we're waiting on that other document, what I've passed out is the slides that you had tonight, and also a document of my budget message that goes into a little more detail of it.
Let me tell you what I have here. This is what actually prompted me to write that other document for resolution. This came from the Albemarle County in Virginia, the Board of Supervisors, and the operating guidelines for high-quality governance. Excuse me. I edited this document to make it more appropriate for Weaverville. But the board commits to using the following guidelines to ensure high-quality governance. The county's strategic priorities will guide the work of the board and staff and will be supported by a thoughtful priority-setting process and cycle. We will honor the express will of the majority and respect the concerns of the minority. We ensure that policy decisions and directions to the county executive are communicated by the entire board. Where this is unclear, the county executive, in this case it would be the town manager, or communicate with the, and seek clarification. No single member of the board can provide direction on policy implementation. Board members do not want their interactions with requested staff members to negatively impact staff production. And therefore, everything really needs to go through the town manager's office. So avoid, we don't want to get into giving people, oh, it's up there on the screen. So anyway, I can't read that. My eyes are not that good anymore. If somebody would like to take over and actually read what's up there, I would appreciate it.
Here, Dave, hang on. You got some help from Brett.
Oh.
But I don't think you're gonna be able to read that without a margin either. See if you can help him, John. Make that bigger.
You can zoom in on that.
That's a cheap.
Hang on, Brett, he's gonna help you. Somebody's gonna help you. Not me, not Jennifer. Anybody want to text Jennifer, tell her we found it? Does she have her phone? No, it's on her desk. Perfect, yeah. She's got her phone on her desk.
I can read the last.
I can read it.
Mark can read the last few. He's
Yeah,
right
you
in front
want
of it.
Read the last bit?
Oh, yeah.
Council members do not want their interactions with and requests to staff to negatively impact staff productivity. Staff members should use their judgment and explain the resources that would be required to respond to town council or to council member requests. If a policy issue is going to affect workload or a policy direction, it should be sent through the town manager's office. When a council member sends a communication to a staff member, it should be copied to the town manager and department head involved. Urgent matters should be clearly stated in the subject line. To ensure maximum productivity, town council should focus on policy-making work, and the staff should focus on day-to-day operational work and provide progress reports as requested or agreed to. And so we need to scroll that down a little bit. Town council and staff are responsible to the taxpayers and residents of our town, and we should give our best efforts to work for the benefit of all of our constituents. When a council member has a concern regarding staff performance, that concern will be communicated to the town manager's office in a timely manner so that it can be addressed.
Thank you.
Oh, darn.
Go figure, bad luck.
Yeah, it always happens that way.
So, having gone through some of the past history that we've had prior to us actually being on this council, we had a very painful period of time that we had to live through. And part of it was because of the way things were being dealt with across organization. And so this is just a really simple document that I think it benefits both sides of this equation, both staff and council members. And I would encourage people to sign on to this as they see fit. I will twist your arm a little bit if I have to, but I don't think we really need to.
One question I have, and this is just in some of the things that I've been working on. I've been working closely with Jennifer and not been CCing Scotty. So, like, you know, on item 5, copying the town, is it the town man, like, could it be the town manager's office or personnel or?
Well, I would go through the town manager's office,
Okay,
because the town manager sets schedules and clearly
Yeah.
affected in budgeting
Right.
things, and needs to know a broader scope of
Right.
what's actually going on out there.
but is like communicating just through Jennifer adequate, or should it be Jennifer and Scotty?
What do they prefer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as far as the administrative side, I'm fine with that, but if it gets out to a department head level, then I want to be copied on that. I think it's prudent to be copied just so that I know what is going on out there. I mean, upstairs, we communicate well enough that, I mean, we're back and forth and knowing that, I'm working on this project or that project. But sometimes at the department head level, it may not make it up here.
I got you,
When
yeah.
you're reaching out there and needing some guidance, then just, copy myself or Jennifer on that.
either one, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's being whatever, humble and nice. It doesn't hurt to copy. I mean, as the
Right.
boss, I got a ton of managers, but then you go, just type my name in the CC and I'll choose to read it or not. But if I'm left out of him and then later it's like there's a question, I'm like, well, you could have just, you ask me dumb stuff all the time. You didn't copy me on something important, thank you. So to me, I've tried, I've done that, some of that interaction, and maybe I don't get it right every time, but
yeah, I think everybody knows that how I ran for town council was all about communication. That was the top of my list. Because I've seen so many problems that have gotten in a ball that didn't need to because people weren't communicating with each other. And that's something that we do all the time, and we should be better at it. So this is an opportunity to do that. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time and consideration. And here is a signed document.
Dee, thanks for putting this together. I mean, it's great
Oh,
that
thank
you're
you.
thinking like this
Thank you.
and that it's, yeah, put into writing.
Okay, are there any other business to come before council? Yes, sir.
I can give you a 1-minute ball crank update if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay, so I met with the investors today. We have a deadline to file for an Explore Asheville Lift grant. We did find one major issue in the project plan today. The outdoor pavilion courts, which are 12 pickleball courts, were undersized by 50%, so we're correcting those numbers. But the forecast is what I wanted to share with you. We're talking about both town resident participation and tournaments at the facility. The indoor courts are to be open by August to December of this year. So the retrofit of the building is going to take place very quickly. But the startling number in the 5-year forecast, and Jennifer and I have talked about this, the prediction is up to 198,000 visitors to Weaverville in 2031. So, we're talking about traffic study,
We're talking about
Yes.
hotels.
we're
Yeah.
talking about new hotels, we're, and, from a revenue to the town impact, this is very net revenue positive because we're not having to put a lot of new infrastructure into this brownfield site, which I think is always positive. The annual membership revenue at maturity is predicted to be about $1 million, just from membership.
And how are we gonna tax that?
can't.
You'll have to put that under your pillow. But,
I'll come back to that.
yeah, anyway, the original grant request to Explore Asheville is going to be 3. The investor, 3 million, the investors, I think, have decided to go for 5. And the available tranche is 11.8. So this is probably going to be the biggest project Explore Asheville entertains this year.
So that, and, you know, unfortunately, we don't get enough public here. So I had people texting me, why is the town writing a check for $3 million for the pickleball courts? And I'm like, we're not. You're stupid. You need to read stuff. And I think that's how we get the word out, you know, especially as in we're budget season. We're asking, you know, for a grant that's paid for out of the hotel tax, basically coming in from Asheville. And so I don't know how we, you know, and you know, you can listen to people, but somehow, you know, in that meeting, I'm like, I heard a grant. Maybe people don't know what a grant is, but, you know, we're not spending tax dollars on this. Our Weaverville property tax dollars.
So I heard 5 million ask. This council did a resolution supporting the grant application at your last meeting. I want to say it had a $3 million. And so if you, this would be the opportunity to amend that resolution to up to 5 million, an application of up to 5 million.
Why do we care that it has a cap in it? What if they change their mind between now and then?
That was the framing, the framing of the motion was 3 to change.
Yeah, but can we just say?
You can eliminate the cap.
That's what I'm saying, eliminate the cap, so that we're in favor of supporting the grant.
At whatever cost.
It's not our money, it's gonna come out of Explore Asheville's money.
And again, thank you very much.
I just don't want us to
Jennifer.
get, I want the application to have the full authority of this town council, and I'm worried because of that discrepancy that it may not.
So I will make a motion to eliminate the cap on the lift grant for the pickleball courts at Ball Green.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So, thank you, Jennifer Jackson. Mr. Keith does have the MOU in his hands, and he's reviewing that, and he will return that back to us very shortly. We do not have to have a fully executed lease agreement until phase 2 of the process. So the wheels are all turning, and it all looks very positive. The one downer that I took away from the meeting today, the original architect's design of the pickleball space with the horseshoe mezzanine, the mezzanine had to be eliminated.
Oh.
It was from an engineering issue.
We don't want a Black Mountain redo over a deck.
But they're modifying the design to actually put all of the accommodations that would have been on the mezzanine sort of beside the court, so I think it's going to be fine. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Is there any other business to come before the council?
Mayor, Council, if I could get a clarification real quick on, for my due outs on this next upcoming council would be that you won't see what all the department has asked for to be funded and what that tax rate would look like without using fund balance, or where you on the plan?
Without.
Or the current ask, but without using fund balance.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you for the 3 of you for coming. We appreciate
Yes,
your
thank you.
steadfast.
Thank you.
We gotta buy you hats or something. That's our,
Always here.
yeah.
Present.